Hello guys, welcome to another backtesting video. Today I'll be breaking down the trade that I took on Tuesday. As you can see, 11th of June 2024. I took this trade on Tuesday. It was a buy setup. It was a very clean setup. And let me show you the insights of the trade. First let me tell you one thing. This was a counter trend slash the weekly time frame was bearish, right? So only the trades that are aligning with the weekly bias being bearish were good setups according to me. But whenever there will be sometimes, right, there is a fair value gap here to fill, so clear, and the bullish pin bar is so clean from this daily demand right here. It was so clean that it convinced me to take the trade on Tuesday, to not take the trade but to look for an opportunity to buy to fill up this fair value gap on the daily time frame. So whenever the daily bias is so clean that the targets are so clear, if the probabilities play out in your favor, chances of the probabilities playing out in your favor are more, then it makes so much sense to take, even if it's the daily bias. Even if it's not aligning with the weekly bias, you can take the trade on the daily bias. So that's what I've learned from this week slash this day. And also we will learn one more thing here is, for example, GU has a clear demand zone. For example, GU has a clear demand zone. The price did something. The price did everything we want to see. We got the rejection. Everything we got, we will trade regardless of DXY having a supply zone or not. Even if DXY doesn't have a supply zone, it can have it until and unless it's doing opposite to what GU is doing. We don't care. We take the trade. If you overcompromise it, like I need GU, I need the trade to be perfect, it's very hard. It will be very hard. Don't overcompromise it. You are going to DXY just to confirm the bias and look for confirmation while entering. Not more than anything more than that. And also, whenever GU has a clear zone, trade GU, and whenever EU has a clear zone, trade EU. You don't need to be like, I am GU, I like GU. No. Whichever pair is giving a better opportunity, you trade that. Okay, so this was my daily bias on GBP USD, which was bullish, which was aligning with my daily bias being bearish on DXY. Daily bias on DXY is bearish to fill up this fair value gap after sweeping all of this liquidity from this high and reacting from some sort of daily supply right here. I have not marked this supply right here due to this huge move displacement. You guys know by now how I do my technical analysis. It's very simple. I like to keep it simple. So look, we came to DXY just to see if it was aligning or not. So it is clearly aligning with the daily bias being bearish. Daily bias being bullish on GBP USD, right? So that is what I wanted to see. And that is when I go to the lower time frames. Like first I go to the 4 hourly. In the 4 hourly there was no change of characters, but there was a huge fair value gap. The targets was so clear, and the previous week low was taken so early on the week, which was also SMT with DXY, which I will let you know on the weekly breakdown video. That is when I go to the hourly time frame. On the hourly time frame, you can clearly see, I will not show you all the markings, but this was what we need to be looking for is the latest price action. What happened 2 days ago, 5 days ago, doesn't matter. The latest thing matters. So obviously this is the latest price action. So this was the lower highs, this was the last low, right? So anything after this will be the change of character. So this was the high, this caused this higher low, sorry, and this higher low caused this higher high. So this was the hourly demand right here. So I was looking for a trade from this demand. So we'll wait for the Asian range to close. Obviously the Asian range closed. Literally it was a beautiful trade, but the only downside of this trade was there was news on 11:30 a.m. GBP. It was GDP, not GDP, climate count change, so which is also unemployment rate. GBP there was news, but even though GBP there was news, if the setup is clean, why not take it, right? So we have also learned that even if there is news, if the setup is clean, you can take the trade. And the dollar was clearly aligning. Not, to be honest, in this trade the DXY was not super aligning, to be honest, but we don't care. Asian low got swept on DXY and Asian low got swept even on GBP USD after sweeping the Asian high, right? So that is when I go to the lower time frames like the M15 and look for my entries. So waited for the previous structural liquidity to sweep, Asian low liquidity sweep, previous structural liquidity sweep, H1 change of character bullish, inducement or at 11:45 p.m. AM. Also there was SMT. Look at this carefully. This was the 230 candle, right, which was swept by GBP USD on London session, whereas on EU, its brother, on EU it didn't sweep. This is the 230 candle, it didn't sweep the low, right? So which also gives us more confluence. We used SMT with our bias, obviously. So my bias was bullish, so it made sense for EU to not go and sweep that, and EU to continue to the upside, whereas GU to continue to the upside too. And also on DXY, the 230 candle was, did it sweep? Yep, the 230 candle was swept on DXY, so not a problem. It was only SMT with Euro USD, which is a very good confluence. And then after I entered on the lower time frames, I can guarantee you there was some sort of accumulation here on the lower time frames, M5, M1. And after the change of character, I entered the market for a 1:3. You can argue that the price was not aligning at the moment. At the moment, it was aligning with DXY being bearish, showing that it wants to go down and it wants to go up. So I took the trade. Literally, it was a winner. A beautiful trade. Look, GU was winner, right? When my analysis was correct, everything I waited, point of interest mitigation, higher time frame, inducement, M15 rejection, lower time frame entry, DXY confirmation, everything I waited for my checklist to get checked. So after my checklist is checked, I don't care what happens afterwards. So even the dollar went up, GU went up, doesn't matter. A win is a win. This shows that even when your bias is like you have a clear zone on GU and no clear zone on DXY, the DXY can do other thing, no problem, but your GU trade can play out. I have seen that happen a gazillion of times now. That is why I can tell you so confidently, because I have seen that happen in the markets, and that happens regularly. If I show you the price action on the hourly, you can see GU, after taking that previous structural liquidity SMT, it went up directly, right? Even on DXY, if you see clearly, it's also looking like it's gone up, right? So they did the same sort of thing, but we followed our checklist, we followed our plan. So as long as we follow our plan, we are good to go. So hope you guys learned something from this. And literally I'm figuring out things now, which is very important. And soon you're gonna see the first perform challenge passed, mate. I guarantee you.